So I know I was only supposed to use 3 brushes, but technically I'm using like 5,000 brushes because all of these come with a brush. Ha! Hey guys, welcome back to Macy's YouTube channel. I'm Elise, Saetta, Macy's beauty director. On today's episode of Bare Minimum, we are going to challenge ourselves with just using 3 brushes for a full makeup look. And I can't wait to show you the magic that I make with these 3 brushes. So whether you're traveling or whether you're on a budge, I'm gonna teach you which brushes are your absolute must-have. I've actually kind of trained myself just to use 3 brushes for the most part. So we are going to explore which 3 brushes have the most bang for your buck. So I'm going to start with prepping my face, and with that I will use MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. A lot of people think that a setting spray is just to set your makeup, but I actually like to use it to prep my skin. It hydrates and it also makes my complexion perfect for makeup application. So now I am perfectly prepped and I'm going to use my concealer to conceal some dark spots. I'll be using Born This Way by Too Faced. What's great about this is that you don't even really need a brush because you can use the doe foot applicator here and also your ring finger to really blend it in. So I like to conceal underneath my eyes and also on top because I do have some darkness on top of my eyes. So you don't even need a brush for this. I like to use my fingers, and I use my ring finger because it's the softest finger, as I've been told. I lightly pat and press the formula into my under eye area. I kind of pretend that my finger is like a beauty blender. So as you can see, I'm nicely concealed on the bottom already. And now I'm just going on top, really blending it all in nicely. I am brightened and concealed under my eye. And now I'm going to go in and just take a look at little spots that could use a little correcting and a little brightening. I don't typically use too much foundation. I just like a little bit more, I mean, I want to say casual or like laid back. I guess I'm just like a little more laid back. I don't need a fully flawless face. I really like my skin to look like skin. So on the days where I feel like I can just use concealer to conceal a few like little blemishes and a few little imperfect areas, then I'll do that. My complexion is looking great. I'm going to set my concealer. I'm like over 30, so I have some fine lines starting to poke through, and even though my skincare regimen is on point, there is just no way of avoiding some fine lines and some crease situation. In order to protect myself from that, I am going to use one of my brushes. This is Smashbox All Over Shadow. So this is actually an eyeshadow brush, but it's perfectly fine because I'm going to be using the setting powder on my eye area. So it's a perfect shape and it's nice and fluffy too, which you kind of want. I'm gonna go in and I will be using Dermablend Illuminating Banana Powder, which I'm sure you guys all know about. It's a universal color, so it can actually be used on all different skin tones. So something like this is great. I'm gonna take my fluffier eyeshadow brush, go right in here, get it all in, tap off the excess, and I'm just gonna pat in areas that I know will inevitably crease. Under my eye here, in the areas of where my crow's feet will be. And I like to put concealer on my eyelids because I like to make an even palette on my upper lid before I apply my eyeshadow. I just feel like my eyeshadow goes on a lot smoother, I can see the color better, and also your eyeshadow will stick a lot better. All right, so I just set my eye concealer, and I used this fabulous little brush, the brush that could. I'm going to use this again for my eyeshadow. But I'm feeling a little oilier than usual, so I am gonna set the rest of my face just kind of like casually, like not go so like heavy hitting with it. I am going to take a little bit of my Illuminating Banana Powder and go over some areas of my face, like especially on my T-zone, that I think will get a little oily during the day. And a little bit on my laugh lines, and there we go. I'm like evened out, but I don't necessarily have that filtered Insta skin look. I'm really like not into that. I like my skin to look like my skin. So this is about as covered as I'll go. We are going to blush it up right now. With that, I'm going to use this brush again, and I think this brush is actually for blush, so that makes me feel really good. I'm going to use NARS. Ooh, this is fun. This is NARS blush, and it's in Unlawful. How scandalous. So let's just kind of swatch this guy first. Oh, this isn't that scary. And I'm just gonna lightly pat it on. And then I'll do just little light-handed strokes and give myself a little bit of color. You naturally blush on like your whole face, so I'll usually do a little bit on my brow bone, a little bit down here, a little underneath, and on my jawline. All right, so now that I have my blush on, I'm just gonna contour my face just a little bit, just to give myself a little bit of that chisel, but not crazy. This is Too Faced Sweetheart Bronzer Baked Luminous Glow Bronzer. And this one is in Sweet Tea. How cute is that? It looks like a chocolate. So again, I'm using that same fluffy angled brush, and I'm going to use this, again, in kind of a light-handed way. So just tapping off the excess, and then going right under my cheekbone. So I also like to get into the temples of my face and my hairline. So this is looking just a little bit orange from when I used this brush before on something else. So I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit. That really just kind of fixed it right there. Lesson learned here, always just kind of test your brush like on your hand or on a towel or something like that. At this point, I would just wash this brush and like put her aside and use her again tomorrow, nice and clean. But I still need to apply my highlighter. I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in Sugar. I think I'm going to use this Starburst color, which is really, really pretty. It's like a peachier highlighter. Again, with my ring finger, I'm gonna go like this, put some pigment on. I'm just gonna rub it a little bit so that it's not super heavy. And then I'm just gonna pat it on here and see how this looks. Oh, this is actually really pretty. So just highlighting the highest sections of my face. So my cheekbones, my brow bones, a little on the Cupid's bow. Give myself some of that lip contour. I'll put a little bit in the inner corner of my eyes. If I was just kind of doing an everyday weekend look, I would actually stop here, which is great, but I still have one more to go. Now that my complexion is set, I am going to do my brows with Anastasia's Brow Definer. And what I love about this is you don't need any brush because there's actually a brush right in it. I'm gonna use my handy NARS blush as mirror. All right, so I'm just kind of filling in where my brows are a little bit sparse, but really not being too over-calculated about it because I want more of a natural brow, just kind of filled in. All right, and then what I love about this product is I have my spoolie right here. So what I'll do is brush, and then what this is also doing is actually blending that pigment into my brow so it feels a little bit softer. All right, so brows are looking good. Now onto a real makeup look here. I have all of these, which are so fun. These are all liquid liners. NYX's Vivid Brights. I think I'm going to start actually with this purple. I think this is a brush in itself. So I will try to apply it with the brush that it comes with, but to wing it out, I will most likely use this brush as well to kind of give it that nice little wing. All right, so here I go. Wish me luck. Liquid liner is a little tricky, and I think part of the reason why they include a brush in a lot of these liquid liners is because you need a really specific, super, super thin brush in order to use it. So you can see how this is really, really thin, but also kind of tall. I like to use this as an actual straight line when putting on the liquid liner. So rather than just assuming that your line is gonna be super straight and drawing it on, I sometimes like to just pat it on, use that as a guide, and then I do kind of the swipe to make sure that my line is feeling nice and straight. Another thing too is you would think that to get the cat eye here, that you would go just like this. Sometimes that works for me, I'm not gonna lie, but a lot of times it doesn't, and it just ends up looking kind of gunky at the end. So what I do is I actually switch it to the other side. I start from the outside so that the point is super, super thin already, and then I come in and I just go the opposite way. So that's how I do my liquid liner and especially a cat eye. I'm gonna zhuzh it up with other colors. I might use her, let's try it. Going to pull out all kinds of product on the brush. I'm gonna take this gal here and just apply it onto this brush. This is a nice angled brush. The bristles are nice and firm, which I really like, and I think I'm gonna get a nice line. I'm going to start the point of the brush right here on the outer corner of my eye, and I'm just going to trace that line See how that just emphasized the wing? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna take this pink from, again, NYX Vivid Brights, and I'm going to put this on the inner corner of my eye, just to make this, again, a little bit more interesting. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm getting the pink liner all over my lashes, but that's not a big deal because I'm going to put mascara over it and then no one will know. A lot of people don't realize that we have NYX at Macy's, and it's so affordable. You get a lot of bang for your buck here. I mean, look at this look. This look is crazy. Now I'm going to put on my mascara to kind of seal the deal on here. Today I'm using the IT Cosmetics Superhero. Really excited to try this. I actually haven't tried it yet, but I've heard amazing things about it. Sometimes I like to just take off a little bit of the formula to start because mascara can get a little crazy. I start at the base of my lashes, jiggle in, and then pull out. So I'm going a little heavier with it because I just want it to stick out nice. Check that out. I'm going to set my makeup look here before I do my lip. I'm using MAC Prep and Prime. This was the same setting spray that I used to prep my skin. I'm also using it to set. One item here, you don't need to. Lastly, I'm going back to my fabulous 266S brush from MAC. So this is like my new favorite thing. This is Laura Mercier Velour Lip Powder. Lip powders have been super trending. I didn't really get them at first until I got this palette. And what's great about it is it comes with this balm that you use, and then you can use each one of these different powders to apply on your lips. So you get that look of a matte lip, but it literally just feels like a balm because it's being held on by a balm. So really cool product. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my finger. I'm gonna put the balm on. I love this because it's angled, so it's gonna really accentuate my Cupid's bow here. I think I'm gonna go with her right in the middle. It's nice and bright and fuchsia. Usually when I'm using a lip brush that's angled like this, I like to tip the brush upside down and use this shape to just mimic the Cupid's bow of my lip. So you don't even really have to think about doing a straight line because you have a straight line here already. So I kind of stamp it on just to make sure that the V of my Cupid's bow is like super tight. And then when I'm lining the outer corners of my lips, I, again, like hold it the same way that I would for the Cupid's bow and just use that point and that straight line to go up my lip line. Again, accentuating the Cupid's bow. And then the rest is pretty easy. You just kind of fill it in. I feel like I'm Barbie chic today. So another thing I love about this palette too that I do, I mean, since we're using two-toned everything, I think I'm gonna use a little bit of this to make my lip look a little ombre. So what I'll do is I'll use this red. I'm gonna put a little bit of it right here in the middle. So it looks like this red has ombreed into a fuchsia. So now I'm just creating art on my face. And there you go. What do you think, guys? Crazy, fun, but I would wear it. All right, guys, that's it. I have my look. I used only 3 brushes. I cheated like just a little bit, but whatever. I'm very grateful for you joining us. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. There's so much more that we're gonna talk about. I'm Elise, Saetta, the beauty director, and thanks again for joining us. I'll see you next time.